It's showtime here in New Jersey. And
In Alabama,
cool.
where it's happening at.
And
Yeah.
welcome to the show. We're not going to do welcome to the show, but it's
No,
like
listen, we chicks at a radio. We love you.
it's
We do love
kind
you.
of funny.
We do.
Yeah. So it is Thursday evening. It is Veterans Day. And first of all, I would like to give a big shout out to all veterans in the audience. And really thankful and happy that you guys are joining us. And I have a number of friends. I have some family members who were in the service, and we honor them. Tonight, we are going to talk about how the military has used amateur radio, and specifically amateur radio, because the military does use a lot of radio, but the military has had a special relationship with radio amateurs. And with this, now, it's probably good that we highlight it because there might be some things that you know already, but there are some things that you probably don't. Hmm. So
Hmm.
tonight, we're going to do that. So what's going on in Catland?
What's going
Literally
on
Catland.
in literally Catland? The 4-weekers are probably like around like 6 weeks now, give or
Hmm.
take.
Yeah.
They are Wolfgang and Houdini, obviously. Uh-huh. Wolfgang got his name because he growls at the other one when he's eating. No
Okay.
joke. Legit growls. And the other one, well, he's an escape artist. And then we have Sexy Rexy downstairs. I call him
Uh
Sexy Rex.
oh.
And he's got the cutest little bobtail. And he's got enough hair on it to make it look like a little bunny tail.
Wow. Wait a
Yeah.
minute. That came from the shelter. He came from a shelter like that, or
No. He's a foster. He's a rescue. Some lady got him off the Craigslist, and so we ended up, the rescue I'm working with ended up getting him. So he's on right now.
okay,
Sure.
that makes sense.
So instead of like, how bobtails have like barely any tail, he's got a little bit of tail. But because he's medium hair, he's got, it looks like a bunny tail.
Right.
And then
Interesting.
Raven, well, Raven's Raven.
Ravens are right. Yes. So, and let's see here. Got a lot of people in the chat.
Oh, yes. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. Cool. Got Evan
Yeah.
Barsack, or how do you spell that? You got
We
Andy
got
Cowley.
Ron.
Andy Cowley is in every single ham radio stream, and we love that Andy loves to support all the streams. So Andy,
Yes.
you're awesome.
Thumbs up,
And
Andy.
yeah, we have
Yeah.
Mike, Kate, MRD. We have who else? Ron
We've got
Willinsky.
Evan. We've got Ham Radio Adventure Guy.
Okay.
Um, we've got a whole bunch of people. Oh, we got Submarine Radio Man.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think he's a veteran too. He was in the Navy. Well, obviously he's a submarine. I don't think there are any private submarines. There are only military ones.
All right.
All right, so we have a good crowd tonight.
Yes, we've got a couple of things in the news. Our usual news resource is currently down, but we have some awesome other amazing news sources as well. So CQ DATV is no longer being published. So that magazine is no longer being done. What's kind of sad?
So radio amateurs have had we've always been, we're not just radio, right? We're also television. So CQDAT. So all right, let's go back a little more. Radio amateurs used to, and a lot of them still do, engage in amateur television, which is where they communicate two-way using the television, using television signals. So basically, it used to be mostly analog TV, where it would be like the traditional analog TV, yeah, that that sort of thing. Then a bunch of enterprising radio amateurs decided to go digital. So I believe they use a standard called DVB, which is a European standard
Hmm.
for uh, for digital television, and they adopted that in amateur radio. And CQDA-TV has been all about digital television, and they're very niche and high tech kind of thing in amateur radio, and they deal a lot with digital television, software defined radio, and such like that, microwave, and really high end esoteric stuff. Not your mainstream amateur radio. They're pretty cool. Unfortunately, I don't know why they stopped. I mean, they announced in August, at the end of August, that they were going dark. I don't know. What happened? Um, so you can see them at cq-datv.mobi, M-O-B-I, and they have the last issue number 100 in PDF, and I don't know why they probably explain why in this thing, but that just flashed across my screen. Um, oh, yeah, maybe I could share this. Actually, it's kind of interesting because.
Can you share it?
Yeah, I can. I will.
Okay.
That's so Raven. That's so Raven. Yeah, I mean, that's like the perfect segue. Okay,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so welcome to C100. If you'd like to continue reading about ATV, then Boulder ATV Club's newsletter is also free. Um, let's see. Trevor talked about his role, and then copywriting, editing. And it's important to support television engineering. Yes, I love television engineering. Um, every step we either lose engineers or limit out, and they impaled on the glass ceiling of progress. Okay. Digital only publishing. Does not okay, and he wrote a really long thing. Terry, Ian, Jim, yes, Addy, and then yeah, I don't know. All is lost. Okay, so I guess they're just changing formats, really, it seems.
Changing
So,
formats.
yeah, and the magazine business really is not, profitable these days. It's like, yeah, you could do magazines and such, but, well, yeah, but yeah, this is interesting stuff. I always wanted to get into ATV. I just never really had the wherewithal to do it. It just, it's kind of just something I desired to do and just never did. So anyway, well, they look like they're not really gone. They're just changing formats. So we'll see
Oh,
where that goes.
well, then, sorry for the misinformation.
No, it's not
And,
misinformation. They're actually stopped publishing the magazine, but they're just not.
oh,
Yeah, they're not. They're not going to stop providing information. They're just going to stop publishing the
they're going to do a
magazine, which
different
is
platform.
yeah. They're going to do Facebook and blogs and stuff. They should do YouTube since they're TV people.
Yes, they should do YouTube since they're TV people.
Yeah. What else is going on?
Well, Raven came across the screen as she usually does.
Mm-hmm.
So as I was reading, so AMSAT, North America elects officers to assess its ongoing and future satellite projects. So there is a Memorial Space Symposium on October 30th that the organization is looking ahead to future satellite missions that will go commercial in order to keep enough satellites in space. Mason was reelected at a virtual board meeting on October the 29th. And so the membership is currently holding strong with more than 4,000 members in 76 countries. And so their strategic plan prioritizes putting satellites into high Earth orbit, and he summarized the Golf Greater Orbit Larger Footprint Initiative as a part of its plan to reach higher orbits. And AMSAT will not be giving up on low Earth satellites. However,
Mm-hmm.
FM satellites are very important and can serve as a stepping stone to more sophisticated spacecraft.
Right. So yeah, so it's like, so generally there are two types of satellites. There's like the low Earth orbit satellites, which are really like what most people know in satellites, right? They basically have a fast orbit around the Earth, and they're easy to work with an arrow antenna, and then you can, you just work them with a bow fan, basically, or the most popular satellite, the best satellite radio there ever was, which was the Kenwood D72, and but they want to go to a high Earth orbit. Now, the high Earth orbits actually give them more footprint, so they can actually cover a wider area, which is pretty good. And but they still have to support the smaller, the cheaper low Earth orbits, like the CubeSats and such like that. So I remember my first experience with satellites was Noel 9Y4X. Well, it's called Science 9Y4X. He used to be 9Y4NED, and he basically had a satellite station. That thing was so cool. You'd see it auto tracking across the sky, and contacting these various satellites. Pretty cool stuff. So, and the last item is
Well, it's going to be the October 2021 Volunteer Monitor Program Report. Yay!
So, Christmas is coming up, and, the holidays are coming up in general, because we have more than one holiday. And, we have to see if you've been naughty or nice, right?
Of course, this is the naughty or nice list, and Santa checks it twice.
Okay. Riley Hollingsworth only checks it once.
my kid said no, he doesn't.
Okay, go ahead. What have people been up to now?
Well, there's some tech operators in Massachusetts and Texas who received advisory notices after making numerous FTA contacts on 40 and 20 meters.
Oh,
and they're telling them, say, hey, you can't transmit on 40, and you have no operating authority on 20 meters.
Yeah.
That was a very bad thing.
Right.
However, somebody got in trouble for excessive sideband width on 40 and 75 meters, which is also a no-no and not good ham radio operations. There was a operator in Moorfield, West Virginia, who actually was out of band operation. And his case will be referred to the FCC for further enforcement action, which could include removal of voice privileges from or revocation of his general class license.
Yikes.
Uh-oh. Naughty. And then somebody in Arizona decided, hey, we're just going to make lengthy transmissions without even identifying ourselves.
So, yeah, this is a good one. Time for the rules. The rule is, Kat, how long do you have to ID?
That I'm not for sure.
Every 10 minutes. You need to make sure that you ID every 10 minutes. Or at the end of the transmission.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go longer than that, all the VMs like Zero Cool, who is in here in the chat, he's probably going to write you up, send it to headquarters, and ARRL is going to send you an advisory. Now, these advisories really aren't FCC actions. They are sent by the Volunteer Monitoring Program, but they're more of a reminder, So, just don't be mad, right? I got a pink card from an official observer back in the day, and
not you, Rhea. Really?
I did. Yeah, of course. I'm a contester. Every contester gets one.
You're getting too happy, weren't you?
Well, you know what it was. I clicked the cluster spots, and then I ended up, below the phone band, and then I transmitted, and then I realized, oops, afterward. It didn't matter that I didn't log the contact and said I was out of band. I was still out of band, illegal transmission. Ron Walensky says at the beginning and around every transmission, that's not correct. It is every 10 minutes and at the end of the communication. So, not at the beginning. You do not have to transmit your call sign at the beginning. Although it's good practice to, it's not required. Okay? It's just required every 10 minutes and at the end. And GMRS actually requires every 30 minutes. Yeah, Ron, I was too close. I was on 40-meter phone, so I think I was I think I transmitted on like 7125, or something. 7125 lower sideband. Of course, being low sideband, I'll be below the band edge, and that kind of put me in jeopardy there. 40 meter was hot today. Well, that's cool. I didn't have time for radio today, but I'll make some time. All right. So, what else is with the VM report?
Nothing much really, other than somebody in Missouri was reminded that a beacon on 30 meters cannot be automatically controlled.
Okay.
And so it must have a control operator present at all times of the transmission. And he was further advised that FCC may request a schedule of control operators and their duty hours.
Yeah, so if you have a beacon, even whisper, that's the important thing. If you're running, I do whisper sometimes to run antenna tests, and if you're transmitting, a lot of times I don't transmit, I just receive. But if you're transmitting, you need to have a control operator nearby. So I generally either I'm there watching it, or I have my I usually have the control in front of me looking, so always got to make sure. Excuse me, that's your monitor.
All right.
So that is news
about it. Everything else was just telling us how many hours they actually were monitoring. So
cool beans. All right. So like I said, first of all, it is Veterans Day, and it's really good that we have veterans and the military. I mean, the military plays a very important role in this country, and until I came here, I didn't realize just how much. Actually, I kind of did. My uncle was a special police, military police in the United States Air Force, and he was stationed at 2 Air Force bases. He was stationed at Tyndall, in Florida, and then he went to Beale in California. So that was pretty interesting. There was, he lived a military life. My aunt, who was his wife, she died a couple weeks ago. So, but he was my first experience in the United States actually was staying at their house, which was on Tyndall Air Force Base, which is kind of interesting. So, so as far as the military goes, so first of all, when you think the military and you think amateur radio, well, first of all, so do you know any deployed any service members who've been deployed a long time and such like that? What do you think happens?
They have to communicate, so I'm sure they're using ham radio at some point.
They got to call home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so so it's interesting. My brother was in Afghanistan a couple of years ago, and then my sister-in-law, his wife, he used to talk with her on Skype every day, and that was interesting. Back in the old days, they didn't have Skype, right? They didn't have Skype, they didn't have Facebook, they didn't have StreamYard, they didn't have nothing. What they had was, and they didn't even have cell phones, So all of this stuff.
And one of my friends, when he was deployed, he's a Marines. It was like very much close communication, because that was like back in 2001 and stuff. So Facebook hadn't even taken off yet. It was MySpace back then.
Yeah, this was back. Yeah, it might have been like 2016 or something, around there. He was in Afghanistan, and then. But back in the old days, actually, how it used to work is we have a service called MARS, right? The Military Affiliate Radio Service, MARS.
Right.
And MARS kind of had a cool mission back then. They would basically help the military with communication. So you had like Army MARS, right? So the MARS is the Military Auxiliary Radio System, where they're basically a group of volunteers who support, the Department of Defense, right? They support the military. And let's talk about yesterday's role. So yesterday's role is a lot of the MARS people used to do phone patches. So they would connect their telephones to their radios, and then like service members, families would be able to make calls to the service member overseas via the radio. So that was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool, and ham radio operators provided that link. Mars isn't actually on amateur radio frequencies. Mars is on a separate set of frequencies right outside the ham bands. Due to OPSEC reasons, operational security, they don't disclose what they are, but a lot of people figure them out. They're not encrypted. They have like nets and such too, like a net where you have people calling in a round table, but they have very structured nets. And they have drills, and I believe they also use WinLink and other types of messaging too. Today, Mars is more about disaster communications. So Mars is part of something called Mars actually works with the Army Network Enterprise Technology Command, called NETCOM, right? And basically, it is an executive agency for Army Mars, and they have their headquarters in Fort Wachua in Arizona. So NETCOM actually does all the IT for for the Army and such like that, and they plan and they design and they engineer the cyberspace command. So but the cyberspace command is actually called U.S. Army Cyber Command, so AR Cyber.
Mm-hmm.
So today, they have directed international human assistance and disaster relief. So the military is not just about fighting wars, okay? Even though, and defending the country, which is their main mission, but they're involved in a lot of humanitarian work these days. Like when my brother, he went on, was it Mercy, one of these big hospital ships, and he was down in Asia, and they were doing stuff for people over there. So yeah, so they do a lot of emergency communications at Mars, and they have people volunteer in Mars, and an interesting thing a lot of people don't know is that you don't need a general license to actually take part in Mars. I knew technicians who got involved in Mars, and they transmit on HF and such like that for the Mars mission. They can't just go and rat you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, today it's a lot more than just radio, though. So Submarine Radio Man says that he phone patched everyone where he was during the old days. Yeah, today we get spoiled, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So have you ever on the ships, right? They actually had like not only on the ships, but for like deployed service members and such, they actually used to listen to excuse me, armed forces radio on shortwave. I don't think they actually still broadcast anymore. So anyway, so that's one of the things the military does is Mars, and the military makes extensive use of amateur radio volunteers. We're very, it's in our basis and purpose to stay trained, right? So I hope you're reading books. Well, watching websites, watching YouTube, and
You mean putting on YouTube and sleeping and incorporating everything in my brain from YouTube and dreaming about it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Ron Walensky says his high school had a phone patch set up. Oh, that's cool. In his I guess his school radio club. Yeah, because a lot of schools had radio clubs and such. That was pretty cool. And this is different from the repeaters, which have auto patch, right? So the repeaters have an auto patch you could use with a handheld. So you could basically dial it up like a cell phone and make phone calls as if it was a cell phone back before we had cell phones. But no, this is more like this is a manual phone patch. It's not the auto patch. So all right. Yeah, so we have a lot of veterans checking in and such, so cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else do you want to know about what the
Well,
military
apparently
does?
there's something about Civil Air Patrol. Does that have anything to do with the Air Force?
Um, the Civil Air Patrol, um, and I have I actually did some work and outreach with them. So yes, they are an auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force, right?
Mhm.
And the Air Force actually, so they're not, they're there's okay. So basically, Congress has chartered, and they have a civilian auxiliary of the Air Force, right? So they're a volunteer organization, and their primary mission is to fly, right? So they fly airplanes, but it's not only it's not only flying, it's not only pilots that join CAP, right? Civil Air Patrol's CAP,
Mhm.
and what you do is you could do a bunch of different things in a mission, right? You can fly airplanes, you can do communications, which is what a lot of we do. So you have the cadets who are like 12 to 21 years old, and then you have the senior members who are 18 and over. And the senior members are basically adults who join CAP, and what they do is they either fly or they perform support in the missions, and they train the cadets. So they're very interested in aviation and such like that and emergency services. So what they do is they do a lot of search and rescue, right? You heard about excuse me, about search and rescue
Yes.
where they fly and they. I don't know if they use drones these days. They probably use drones for some of
I,
these things, but
I
they
think they
use
do nowadays.
yeah, I think they use traditional fixed wing aircraft and probably helicopters and such too. But yeah, they do a lot of search and rescue. They're involved with approximately three-quarters of the all aerial inland SAR missions directed by United States Air Force Rescue Coordination Center at Tyndall Air Base in Florida. See?
Mhm.
Yeah. So they also work in Hawaii, Alaska, and Puerto Rico. So they
Ooh,
save a lot
Puerto
of
Rico.
lives. Hmm?
It's Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yes.
Puerto Rico.
Yeah. And they do a lot of disaster relief, especially in like the Gulf Coast, like Mississippi and Louisiana, because they get a lot of
Hurricanes.
hurricanes.
And
That's
don't forget
right.
about Alabama. We get hurricanes too.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's not the Gulf
Especially.
of Mexico. It's the Gulf of Mexico for a reason.
Yeah. In
Arriba,
Florida.
arriba,
Yeah. So the CAP air crews, they do like they transport cargo and they bring air officials. They take photos and such imagery, and then they assess damage and stuff. I mean, some of that you could do with drones, but some of that you can't really do with drones due to the range. You want to fly over a disaster area, you need to get into a manned aircraft. And one parallel between Civil Air Patrol and amateur radio. Do you know some of the agencies that we serve in emergency communications and amateur radio?
AR, yes. Airs.
Um,
Airs,
no, not no. Aries, not Aries.
not Aries. Here we go.
No, Aries actually serves some disaster relief agencies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who does disaster relief in the United States? Like which,
FEMA,
not ham radio, but which organizations?
FEMA, Red Cross.
Red Cross. Okay.
I don't know.
So
I had to
they
get one.
act,
There's a
yeah,
50-50 chance.
they support FEMA. Okay, CAP supports FEMA, but CAP usually supports the Red Cross, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is sometimes the air crews they will transport, like medical stuff, blood and organs and such like that too. So, like for example, you're in an impacted area, and an ambulance can't make it. You generally have CAP being able to ferry that with an aircraft. Up here on September 11th, all the aircraft were grounded, and one of the first aircraft that actually took a picture of the World Trade Center site was a CAP aircraft. So yeah, so they do a lot of good, and maybe I'll have one of these CAP guys on because they give a lot of talks, and they're always eager to they partner with us in the ARRL up here. They're very good for us. They actually recruit a lot of people. I'll try and forget to remember. And he sent me a QSL card. They have the wing in Long Island up here, and they have one in Jersey right next around here. So pretty cool. They even work with the Border Patrol, right? And they work with the Forest Service, and so they do a lot of stuff. They do a lot of education. My son is all wild about airplanes. Maybe I'll take him to visit the CAP wing. Maybe he could be a CAP cadet or something. Yeah. So, yeah. It's pretty cool stuff. But our mission, CAP, we actually do communications sometimes. I don't know how much we actually do these days, though, because, a lot of things are... excuse me. There is a website, the National Communications Program, and let's see here. They have where you could use your regular radios, and you have basically amateur radios you modify to use on CAP. But I think they kind of discourage that now. I think they actually try to get you to use commercial radios now. You have HF and VHF and UHF. So, pretty interesting.
Very interesting.
Right.
What about Armed Forces Day test?
Okay, so Armed Forces Day. So one cool thing we do actually. There's an Armed Forces test in amateur radio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to bring up that website here, where the nice thing about it is we have a crossband test every year, right?
Right.
And it's usually, I think, in May. Let's see here. They have a schedule here. I'll bring it up here. Oh. Okay. Oh, they took it out for 2021. What they do is, and it's actually in the FCC regulations, we're allowed to contact crossband. So, Armed Forces Day is in May, and we have a crossband test where we actually transmit on amateur frequencies, and they transmit on military frequencies, and we make two-way communication that way. So, amateur crossband military test. I think the website is kind of down right now. Everybody's website is down today. What's going on? They don't want us to show the website.
Maybe it's got to do with something with SpaceX launching and going to dock at the space station. Maybe it's got something to do with that, or I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. U.S. Army Mars. Armed Forces Day. Okay. Well, they have the QSL request form and such, but I'm really curious. I think I want to see when they have the next one, if I could make some contacts, maybe YouTube it too. So, yeah. The space launch was amazing. Okay. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the TFR for that space launch. So basically I check Sky Vector for when they have cuz it's kind of interesting. And there actually is a space launch 11/12 to 11/12 8 hours from now they're going to have a space launch in Cape Canaveral. Interesting. SpaceX is going to launch something. Then they have one in Brownsville and Boca Chica too. You heard what Elon Musk did? He sold a bunch of his shares. He sold 5 billion in shares.
Was it 5 billion or 1 billion?
I think he did like 5
Huh.
billion.
Huh.
Yeah, he sold. Yeah, apparently he has to pay.
Oh yeah, 5 billion worth.
Yeah, he sold 5 billion. Yeah, I mean he owes Uncle Sam like $15 billion, so and he has to pay that tax debt. Got to pay the
Oh, he has
IRS.
IRS.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yep.
shoot, he owes IRS.
Yeah.
Dang.
$15 billion.
Holy cow.
I mean that to use a pun, that's an astronomical amount of money. You know?
I mean, astronomically speaking,
Yeah.
um, you know, the IRS is auditing a lot more people lately.
Yeah, why are they doing that?
Um, you want my theory? 'Cause
Go
it's just a
ahead. Let's
theory.
hear it.
I think it's got everything to do with the stimulus payments that we've received. That they're trying to get it back out of us in some shape, form, or fashion. Because people are being audited all the way back to 2018 taxes.
Mm. My taxes are clean as a whistle. I'm very conservative on my taxes, to be honest. I should be claiming more,
But
but I
in
don't.
IRS's defense, though,
Yeah.
while they are coming after these people are leaving out important things out of their taxes. Let's sit here and say that. Income documents. Big one.
Wow.
I had a guy tell me that he withdrew money out of his retirement plan, thrift savings account.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, I paid taxes on that." Great. Awesome, you paid taxes on that. Well, I didn't think I needed to include it in my tax return. Now he's got to pay money to the IRS back because he has penalties on that money because he was not 59 and a half.
Yeah.
Or 70 and a half, depending on which kind of retirement account you have. So yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, I just have a 401 and a pension. That from my last job, I have a pension that I'll collect, and that's it. The 401's interesting. I don't make enough money to worry about the taxes. I kind of do, but it's not the amount of money you make. It's how complicated. Because I have kids and a house,
well, the
and
other one is
other stuff.
with COVID and everything. A lot of people liquidated their stocks, and
Yeah,
they
I can
kind
do
of
that.
left around like over $50,000 off of their capital gains and all that kind of crap and long terms and all that.
Wow.
All their schedule. Yeah, and now IRS wants that money back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
That's a lot of
interesting.
money. A lot. Of
Yeah.
money.
Yeah. Wow.
So yeah.
So, back in the day, actually, so the army used to have, and they still have, uh, they actually had a position. I think they call oh gosh, what do they call it? They used it. It's kind of like the evolution of the radio man, you know, the
Mm,
the signaler, you know.
signaler.
Yeah. So somebody was kind of mentioning to me that
Mm-hmm.
how we should try to get, because I mean emergency communications will only get us so far, right? You have to have a little more appeal for amateur radio. So I think a good way to get people interested in amateur radio is by basically using amateur radio as a training ground, or at least to get them interested in communications technology, because the military needs a lot of these communications technology people. So like in the past they had let's see, they had the radio man used to be a soldier, a sailor, or an airman who basically was in charge of communications, who did the communications, because back then the radios were like the size of a house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or the size of a car or something.
Mm-hmm.
and they would relay messages. So today, no, the radio fits on your, I guess it fits on you, and
Yeah.
or it fits in your tank or something.
Well, it fits somewhere.
Yeah,
You know, they have like
and
tiny cell phones now that actually work. They're about that big. Yeah.
yeah, they have
I don't
like
know
all
how good-
sorts of satellite communications and stuff like that.
I don't know how good they are, and they're on Amazon. And that's all I got to say about those.
And Flex Radio actually is they're doing HF communications for drones now. They're like, not the
Ooh.
little, DJI drones. We're talking about these big, you know, oh shit, someone's gonna kill me drones.
You mean the bomb dropping drones?
The drones that'll be like, you're dead, buddy. You know? The terrorist hunting drones. Yeah, the predator drones.
Pew pew.
Yeah, Flex actually does a radio technology for them now. They actually, so normally they're guided by satellite, right?
Uh-huh.
And what happens is they want to be able to do it without satellites in case, like, the enemy um, decides that they're going to disable our satellites, jam our satellites, or even shoot it out the sky. I think one country, might have been China or something, has a missile. They demonstrate a missile that they could shoot in the sky and disable satellites. So what they're doing is they have this, and this is all public information. This is not classified anyway. They have the Flex 6600
Uh-huh.
is being embedded into one of these General Atomics drones, and they're actually being used to control the drones over HF instead of satellite, right? So this way they don't have to worry about the satellites at all, and they're a little more robust. They have more communications options, and the software-defined radio, the signal processing on that thing, and the ability to have many communications channels open on the radio because it's software defined, and just the agility is amazing. So yeah, and Flex is having a good year actually. You guys are just
I got an email about something about Flex Radio and a discount.
yeah, they sent me some special ones too, like really good ones. But if anybody wants any, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was for the QSO today attendees. So it's special promo codes for them to save money. On the matter of fact, additional $500 off the Flex 6600.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah, they had a very good year, I think, and they're going higher and higher. So they want to get back. I mean, they got their start in amateur radio, so you know.
So, what about operating military-wise in foreign countries? Like, when we're stationed in, like, the desert.
That's a darn good thing. That's a good question. So historically, you had radio amateurs embedded in the military. Not that the military was taking hams, but there are people who are amateur radio operators. They're interested in communications technology. They are deployed with the military, and you find that they're civilians working on military facilities. They're actually working in faraway places like Wake Island or Midway or one of these Pacific islands that we have a military installation on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually a great treat because they were actually rare DX, right? You have like these islands, where there are hardly anybody and they rarely ever get on the air. But because we have the military there for strategic reasons, we have people who are there to go and work on the mission. So they brought along some amateur radios. They maybe brought along some antennas, and they set that up, and they're good to go. Sometimes some of these places even have radio clubs, like Guantanamo Bay. Okay, has a radio club. Have you ever heard Guantanamo Bay on the air?
No, but I've heard of Guantanamo Bay, and I know a lot of things about Guantanamo Bay that we shall not mention. But I did not know that they that
So
I
Git,
have not heard of them there. So no.
yeah. So Gitmo actually has an active amateur radio club, and you have people there who operate. You use the call sign prefix KG4. You know, KG4 and a two-letter suffix. So if you ever work like KG4WV or KG4 something something, you know you work in Guantanamo Bay and not the U.S. So, and that's a separate DXCC country, by the way. And
Have you
zero
watched
cool.
Have you worked them?
Yeah, I have.
Oh,
Let me see who I've worked on there. I'm gonna bring up Club Log and show you. I'll see here. So I'm going
okay.
to show you deep inside my club log, right? There are people who have never seen this before. And let's see here. I'll show you inside my club log, amateur radio. So this is like the inside view of my club log, right?
Uh-huh.
And
So you're
then,
clubbing
so
it
this
up,
is,
right?
yeah, this is where I'm working DX and such like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can see that, right? Of course you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, so you look at Guantanamo Bay. I've worked them on every band except 10 and 6. I
Right.
worked KG4HF, um, KG4WV, I think was the first one I worked. Who else? KG4AN. Yeah, interesting. And some of these are like visitors and such to Gitmo, you know?
I got you.
So, yeah.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah. KG4WV. KG4WV used to be on the contest sometimes.
Ron wants to know if he needs to sign a non-disclosure documentation now.
No, not really. I haven't showed you the real classified stuff. Um, so let's see here. So Zero Cool is saying it falls under CPT and IARU. Not necessarily. So actually, in some countries like in Germany, they actually have a special call sign block and a special license procedure reserved just for our service members. So if you are deployed military and you go to Germany, because we still have troops in Germany, you can apply to the German government for a call sign. And you can actually get this call sign. I forgot what the prefix. It might be Delta Hotel something or Delta Alpha. And you know, you are a service member, you get that call sign. It's like a long-term license while you're deployed there. Japan has the same thing, I believe. Japan has for Japan, U.S. military, amateur radio operators. I believe they have special. Let's see here. No persons operated forms. Yeah, I think they have something where you can get a Japanese license, but yeah. So generally, so these short-term reciprocal agreements, what I know what Zero Cool's talking about, where you know you go in a country and you visit under CPT, which is where you basically have automatic privilege based on agreement, but that's not for military members usually. That's sometimes it is, but most times it's not. They want you to apply for a real license. Let's see here. Radio Club president received on Mars in Vietnam when his son was born, so he knew 2 hours after. You see, that's cool stuff, you know?
Yeah. 2 hours
Somebody,
after 2 weeks or whatnot. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Somebody said those phone patches were sometimes real tearjerkers. Mom, dad's, wives, girlfriend would break down. Yeah, you know, even when my brother was in Afghanistan, you know, he was always, you know, happy to Skype home. You know, him and my sister-in-law. You know, they're always. He doesn't go on those kind of deployments anymore, but let's see here, UK. Yep, yep. UK used to do it too as well. Yep. And let's see here. You have to sign non-disclosure. Oh, you could sign one if you want.
Yeah, I told you
Okay.
I should make people sign them now.
Yeah, the radiograms. I mean, back in the day, you ever heard of the telegrams and such? The first place I ever heard about telegrams was on Sesame Street, right? I think everybody pretty much heard about telegrams. We don't use telegrams anymore,
Mm,
do we?
no, but I think the last time I actually heard about, like when I learned about telegrams, it might not have been Sesame Street. I did watch Sesame
Hmm.
Street, but I don't remember it. It was Wishbone. You remember
Okay.
Wishbone? The Jack Russell
Uh,
Terrier on PBS?
okay. Yeah, yeah,
Like he did books or whatnot, and he'd jump into the book, and the adventure would be about the book. Yeah, I had a Wishbone stuffed animal. Yeah, yeah. I was obsessed with Wishbone. But anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
Western Union stopped sending telegrams in 2006, but Ham still send radiograms.
that's funny.
You should, the people who like the National Traffic System, NTS, right? They send these radiograms. So the radiogram form is actually ARRL radiogram, and let's see here. I want to show you what it looks like, right?
Well, in school we used to have those Valentine grams where they send Valentines and senior grams when I was a senior in high school, where you could it was called Kiss a Senior Goodbye, but they were like little notes and stuff that you could purchase and send to the seniors or Valentine's grams to your friends.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, but they usually use a form like this, um, like this one. I think.
Wearing.
You see,
Oh, that's like a QSL card.
it's not a QSL card. It's a radiogram form, right?
I know that, but it looks similar.
Yeah,
Kind of, sort of.
and this is what it used to look like. Let's see. Is this one? No, that's
My
not it.
handwriting stinks. So yeah.
Well, they type it up. You have like all the radiograms. You might find it where these days where they might send you one on a birthday. I've gotten a lot of them for training exercises and such like that because they send to ARRL officials, but they send it for training exercises. When you first get your license, you might get one. Some people send them for fun. It's really antiquated and such, but there are people who still like them. I saw this one in India. Is it the same thing? Oh, I don't know. That's probably something else. Okay.
I don't understand that.
Yeah. So T Ray, no, the Unlucky Ham says there's someone in his club that does that. He relays the message on and will phone. Yeah, I've gotten a phone call a few times, and it's quite interesting. You know, Marsgram. Yeah, so the Marsgram before emails, they used to send these the radiograms, but they call them Marsgrams because they were part of Mars, right? And yeah, yeah. T Ray is saying you get a radiogram via phone. Yeah, some like a lot of things amateurs do. We do it for fun, and we do it just because we like radio. You know, FL Digi does it too. So, excuse me. Somebody's telling Mike to do a video.
Which Mike? There's like different. Are they talking about K murder?
Who?
AJ.
I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah. So, all right. I think we pretty much covered a lot of the topic here.
We've covered
Anything else you need to know?
No, not that I know of. Yeah, not that I know of.
Okay. Mike is asking, do what? Unlucky Ham. Oh, Unlucky Ham, Mike. Okay, not him.
Well, he needs to be specific because there's so many mics. It's kind of like, I mean, there's like
Yeah.
Mike and Mike's. Yeah.
You could call me by name, okay, my first name, but you have to
Everyone is
specify
like,
Mike or Don.
it's either Don or Mike. I mean, it's one of I can't keep up. Or Bob. Bob's another popular one too.
So the last and final thing we're going to cover about Veterans Day. So when the mission's over, when the veterans come home, we have to support them. There are a lot of our friends who are radio amateurs who are veteran, and really just you go to a club meeting, you thank a veteran, you tell them, hey, thank you for your service. I do that all the time. And another thing is just show up for the veterans parades. When they have the parades and stuff, just show up and wave. They need people to wave and, to see them and thank them for their service. And they really do appreciate it. Some veterans parades and such, they have amateur radio involvement where they go and they have amateur radio coordinating the logistics behind it. That's always a good support role. If your club is involved in that, more power to you. I really think that's a good thing for community service and helps repay what some veterans have what veterans have done for us. And they're and think of those who didn't come home. So that's what I got. All right.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of my I have some really good friends, and they were in the military. I have one. He's like I've known him for a very, very long time, and he was a sniper in the Marines.
Wow.
And he's still one of my good friends. So, yep.
Wow. Davis K3DHJ, good evening from Delaware. You're not too far south of me, so nice to see you. You know what I used to enjoy in Delaware? What they used to have in Delaware?
What?
Pumpkin chunkin'.
Isn't that where you like take a pumpkin and you chunk it?
Not you, okay? But they had like a competition, okay? Where they had like these people making these elaborate pumpkin slinging things, and they had to measure the distance. For some reason, they stopped it. I don't know why.
Maybe somebody got hurt.
Well, let's see. No, I think they lost the venue. They said it's returning in 2022 and they need a home. Okay.
Maybe we can come up with a home to let them and they have to video record it for us if we can find them a home.
So actually, it used to be on Discovery, right? They used to have.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the MythBusters.
Discovery can go find them a home.
The MythBusters used to be the hosts of it. Okay, like you have Adam and Jamie, right?
I love
and,
the MythBusters. They were so awesome. Ooh, you know what else? Rocket City Rednecks. That's a good show.
I remember that show. Safety Third.
Safety Third. What can we blow up today? Oh, wait. And then you got the trailer park. I don't know, people. I don't know.
Well, I used to really enjoy that show. And that's actually how I came to learn that Huntsville was such a big, really the role of Huntsville in the space race, so to speak.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I kind of knew a little bit. I didn't know the exact extent, as a little kid, I always thought this thing was going on in Houston and Florida,
No. Huntsville was very much key. Especially Von Braun. Actually, Von Braun's house that he owned is on Montesano Mountain somewhere.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. I'd have to look it up, but it's there. So my favorite person out of MythBusters was Jamie, because he seemed like the more level-headed one. The other one was like, oh, we'll just blow it up.
My favorite was Grant Imahar.
Wasn't that
Grant?
Wasn't he, wasn't he like the
Yeah, he was like a Asian American dude. He was like,
Yeah.
he was, and he was like one of the, not like the stars, but more like they used to be more supporting role, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what it was.
yeah, and Grant, of course, he's no more.
Yeah.
So
I like Mythbusters. Those were fun.
yeah, he had a medical problem, and he died in 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, but he used to be involved in robotics and stuff. I think he was even involved in BattleBots too. So
Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's all coming back to me now.
yep. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it is 10:30, and
It is
thank you
10:30
all
your
for
time,
watching.
9:30 my time. Thanks for watching Two Chicks in a Radio. Next weekend it's on her channel. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification button for both channels. Because if not, you're going to miss out on something. And
Yeah.
it's going to be next.
You wanna get me to 10,000 subscribers? Help me along. I'm already at 8,000, and I really appreciate the content. Help Kat along too. She needs the help.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I need the hours, man. But
You
no,
need the hours. I
I
know.
need the hours. But I could also use the subs too. I ain't gonna hate on that either.
All right, guys.
All
Have a
right,
good night,
32.
and thank
Bye.
you to all veterans.
Yes, thank you so much for all the veterans out there.